Hey guys, time for another book review. So this week we're talking about The Tea Girl of Hummingbird Lane by Lisa C. So far the Goodreads average for her is 4.19. I gave it 4 stars. It was just published last week on March 21st, so I'm really excited to get into this. So pretty much this book is about a young girl from a tribe in the Tea Mountains of China. She's one of 55 ethnic minorities of the Akha tribe, and it follows her life as she kind of gets, um, she's trying to find her way, but she kind of gets blown in different directions and ends up out into mainland China. Along the way, she does become pregnant, and her family's completely against the birth of the father, or against the birth father. If it were anyone but him, they'd be fine with it. And it's such a hard book. It's such a hard story in ways. She ends up having, she has the baby. She ends up having to abandon the baby, and from there she kind of has to make her life outside of the tribe. Along the way, she is encouraged to, continue her education, and as a result of her study, she's able to act as a liaison for her tribe with the outside world. But as a result of her experiences, she, really kind of gets pushed to, hey, go to second level school, go to third level school, hey, go, get this degree, get this job. Um, to the point where she is actually considered an outsider to some of the people in her tribe. The narrative style of this book is largely first person from the point of view of Leon. However, there are chapters interspersed telling the story of her daughter and what's happening with her daughter. The daughter, Haley, ends up being adopted by a couple in America. And you see their progress together, from the time that she's adopted to, emails between the adoptive mother and the adoptive grandmother, essays that Haley writes, to emails between Haley and her thesis advisor, until the final chapter, which is first person point of view from Haley. Where the author lost a star for me is those chapters describing Haley, because I felt like some of the language was unrealistic for the situation. And you can say, oh, well, that's just her style of writing. Well, in terms of emails and, some of the descriptions, it just felt a little stilted and a little, in other areas, a little too poetic. There's one instance where Haley is emailing back and forth with her thesis advisor, and she talks about, would it not absorb something like I absorbed knowledge through my skin standing next to my father? I wish I had written down the quote, but it was like I was reading it, I was like, really? I've had to just, talk to thesis advisors and whatever, and that's not really how you, talk to them, unless you're an English major, maybe. So that's, that got a little problematic for me. I do feel like the author gave a really good nod to traditional medicine and to the role of ancestral blood, or the idea of, this pulling and this calling as part of your ancestral blood. You see it especially in that last chapter where Haley finally sees her mom, her birth mother, for the first time, in a place where she was born, and she was like, all of a sudden she felt like, I know this place, I shouldn't have memories of this place, but I remember it and I feel and da da da. So you really get that nod to, hey, that pull, you belong here, you're part of us. What the author does really well in this book is she goes with the hard right. And as an example of what that means, two instances. First, where in the beginning, Leon is following her mother, who is a town midwife, and at that time, twins are considered human rejects, so they are to be killed at birth, and the parents banished from the tribe. Um, you know, and she talks about the death of these twins and the father killing these twins. And the entire time you're like, no, 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 don't let them do it. Don't let them do it. You know, and even Leon's, kind of having this reaction like, what are you doing? You know, you really want the twins to live because who wants a baby to die, let alone two babies? Like, what are you doing? But that's life at this time. That's what happens. That's what they did. And she doesn't go for excessively gory details. She doesn't just, just dig the knife in and twist it. She's very matter of fact about it, and she doesn't use gratuitous gore to drive her point home. And the other part, the other example is where Leanne is abandoning her baby, and she's crouched in the alley. She's watching. Is someone going to find her baby and take the baby to social services? And as a mother, I felt her pain, and the entire time you just want her to go and get the baby and make it work. You can do it, girl. Just take the baby. You can do it. Make it work. But again, that's not how life worked at that point in China. And even now, I'm a little fuzzy on, Chinese details, but, it's not how it works. I just mentioned, and I'll expand on it. One of my personal issues was it was kind of hard for me to identify with some of what was going on because, talk to me about North Korean communism, I got it. Talk to me about Chinese communism, there's a lot I don't know. I grew up hearing about the one-child policy, but, the 30-year promise and the great expansion and all that other stuff, I don't know. So when they talk about, oh yeah, you remember that? No, I don't. So, there were some things that, I kind of had to gloss over because I didn't get it. But overall, at the end of the day, it's a story of a woman, trying to rise above her circumstances and really becoming more sophisticated, both within her tribe and in the outside world. So I did really enjoy this book. Lisa C. also wrote Snowflower and the Painted Fan, I believe it's called. And I had started it. I never got to finish it because of life circumstances at that time. But after reading this, I may go back and pick it back up. I definitely recommend this book. It's out there now. I got it from the library. Go to your library. They have it. And yeah. So if you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe, hit like. If there's any books that you think I would like, hit the comments. If there's any books you want me to read and review, hit the comments. And until next time, readers, keep reading.